So I know it's Christmas time. A lot of us are taking some time off, including me. As you can tell, I'm kind of cashing out today. Jordan Joe Hollabaugh is getting ready to anchor the coverage of the second night of the National Finals breakaway roping on the Cowboy Channel alongside my friend Justin McKee, and joins us. Jordan Joe, I wanted to reach out to you on behalf of Next Gen and on behalf of those folks. You put together a really good Facebook post that started off by talking about the Kimes Ranch breakaway roping that just came to an end. Multiple breakaway ropers won what y'all used to win in a year. And you started by saying this was a game changer. You were there, you saw it happen. You won $10,000, and that wasn't probably as much as you wanted to win. But tell me about the Kimes Ranch roping and how good it was for all the breakaway ropers.
Yeah, so I think that's the first times this year that I won 10,000 and I was disappointed there because I only won $10,000. I think 10 girls and more won at least $50,000 as a minimum. And so 4 girls I know won over 100,000. It is a game changer for us. It was very sentimental at a time for me, and the fact of I feel like I've been blessed to kind of be on this roll of tide of breakaway roping from when we started in college to trying to have some breakaway ropings, trying to have big jackpots that added money to amateur finals to Cheyenne adding it in the breakaway, and then all of a sudden we have a pro rodeo opportunities. And so I feel like I've been fortunate for those who have come before me to see what they've done, and then also now as big as breakaway has gotten. But to sit down and really think about knowing we had the opportunity to run at $25,000 rounds
Yeah.
and a $60,000 average as a breakaway roper. It was emotional for me to know that it's true, it's here, and Kimes is one of the people that have given us that platform to do so. And not only can you only be a pro, like anybody can do it, any breakaway roper can do it. We saw little, young girls that were entered in the Kimes Ranch $1 Million Breakaway to ladies that had completely come out of retirement. Kristen George completely came out of retirement just to have the opportunity and made it to the Kimes $1 Million finale. And so I guess just for me, I just felt so overwhelmed and humbled to know that Kimes Ranch $1 Million Breakaway changed the game. They gave us the opportunity, they showed up, they showed out, their money was where their mouth was. And then not only that, they've committed to doing it for years to come. And so, forever, I felt like we said, hey, breakaway roping is our career, but literally they've given us that chance to make it a career. And
Yeah.
that's life money, and it's there, and it's several events all year long to get there. And I don't know, I was just very overwhelmed and appreciative that as a breakaway roper, we have the opportunity and the chance, and Kimes gave that to us.
You were the very first champion in Cheyenne. I was going back in my mind as you were talking in 2018. Is that right? Um, and I don't remember how much that paid, but you made history, Jordan Joe. You were the very first champion in the breakaway roping at the Cheyenne Frontier Days Rodeo. And from then until now, and we've talked a lot about the breakaway roping, but and its growth. I mean, we're looking at the national finals where multiple breakaway ropers are going to finish the year having won over $200,000. Where Haley Williams and Danielle Lohman and I apologize, I forget who the other two girls were that won over 100,000 just in a week at the Kimes Ranch breakaway. How much did Bo Peterson win at those big futurities this year? It was a significant amount of money. Y'all have got the opportunity now to make a living with your ropes.
Yeah. And I think for me, it's knowing that we have the opportunity and it's not just a one-off thing, and knowing that we can put the time, the effort, the blood, sweat, the tears, and the investments, right? The investment in our trucks and our trailers and our horses and all the things that go with it. But to know that we are finally at the point where we're presented opportunities that professional women athletes are in other sports and other genres. To me, it's like breakaway is one of those avenues now.
Yeah.
And I just think as a woman that loves rodeo and loves breakaway roping and wants to be able to be involved in this sport for a very long time, it just solidified it to me. Breakaway's not going anywhere, and it was a game changer.
How big a roller coaster has the last month been in the life of breakaway ropers, with the EHV1 hitting in the middle of November, and all of a sudden the Kimes Ranch Breakaway is not happening right before the NFR on Thanksgiving weekend. It's happening right after the NFR. All of a sudden, the National Finals breakaway roping is up in the air for a while until the folks in Fort Worth stepped up and gave it a home and a sold-out crowd last night, and I think a sold-out crowd tonight. But y'all have had multiple events. You didn't know whether or not they were going to happen, and now all of a sudden here we are talking about the huge money a bunch of people won.
Well, and the EHV was one of the most uncertain crises that we've had or as long as I've ever been around, which that's 35 years. So it's been a minute. But it was very uncertain. We were very scared for our horses.
Very young, folks. Very, very young when she started.
we were all very scared for our horses, but thank goodness everybody kind of stayed home and camped out. But I put myself in the shoes of these producers, knowing that they had this money up all year long. They've committed to these events, these venues, and some of them canceled because they were worried about the virus, and then some of them didn't. But to know that Kimes Ranch continued to have that, even though it cost them, it probably ended up costing them money as a producer to let us rope at that event. That just stood out to me even more, because it was like they wanted the horses to be safe, and we all social distance similar to COVID, but with our horses. But it was just the fact that like they stood their ground and did what they said they were going to do, and we showed up and showed out. I just think the biggest thing was there was just so much uncertainty, and especially for breakaway roping, we kind of have our routine. You go to Kimes Ranch and then you go on to Las Vegas. And so that was shook up a little bit this year. We did go to Kimes Ranch first, and then they're finishing out here at Fort Worth. But just to know the sport has so many people that are supporting it to step up. Fort Worth given the NFBR a home this year when there wasn't really a home to be had when EHV came up, and Las Vegas wasn't something that was on the table anymore just because of the restrictions, and to know that so many people have stepped up for breakaway ropers and said like, hey, when we can and it's safe for our horses, you guys come on. And so, as you said, I'm doing the commentating here tonight with Justin McKee on the Cowboy Channel. And last night I went, and one of my favorite things to do is the calm before the storm, go and stand in the arena and just kind of take it in, before everything starts, before everybody gets in there. And I did that yesterday, even though I'm not competing. It's just part of my routine. And then I walked outside, and there was so many people out there. It made me so emotional just to know that this was the first breakaway roping performance. And then secondly, performance meaning evening performance. All the other times we've roped in the afternoon. So this was a night matinee performance, 7:00. And to know it was sold out, and these fans took their time during the Christmas holiday season and during the relocation and all of it to still show up and support breakaway roping here at Cowtown. It was just something that was very surreal too. So I think that, man, breakaway has grown so fast and evolved. And so it's been I just keep pinching myself thinking like, we always want more as breakaway ropers, and we expect a lot out of ourselves and the people that help put these performances and events on. But it's grown so fast, and the support we have from friends and family and rodeo committees, there's nothing like it. So it's pretty neat.
As you're talking, Jordan Joe, and I'll let you go right after this, you're going to have no shortage of topics for the In the Loop podcast coming up as we roll over into the new year. There's plenty for you to talk about. But here's the way I see it. Breakaway ropers went out and created an opportunity for themselves. I watched it happen a decade ago here in the Northwest with a bunch of ladies who went to rodeo committees and got breakaway roping added as an open event. And then all of a sudden you've got a chance to win Cheyenne. And then all of a sudden we're in the American, and all of a sudden we're going from 30 rodeos a year to 500 or 600, whatever the number was last year. And now we've got breakaway ropers winning $115,000, $120,000 in a week. That has happened because people have provided opportunities, yes, but it's also happened because breakaway ropers have taken the responsibility to take care of their sport. And y'all have shown up. You don't turn out. You put on a good show. All of that has come together. I'm either sermonizing or rambling here a little bit, but I think all of those things have come together to make this possible in your industry. Am I anywhere close to right?
Most certainly. And that's one of the things that I always want to hold true, and I probably say it more than not, and people are probably sick of hearing it, but there's so many women that have gone before even my time. And Jamie Markham is one of them, JJ Hampton, Pam Minnick. I mean,
Larry.
and the Clarity guy, Jackie
Yeah.
Crawford, the names and lists is long and distinguished, but they roped when there was 9, 10 breakaway ropers, and they went everywhere that you could get to, and those are just Texas girls. And I say that just because I'm from, I live in Texas now, originally from Colorado, but there's been so many women have advocated for breakaway, for women's rodeo, for a very long time. And I don't ever want to forget that history of why we get to do what we do. And one of the things that I love to see, Jill Edwards puts on a rope in Texas called the Something Special Breakaway, and it's an invitational, but it's a youth event, and so they have 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 14-year-olds. There's over 200 of these girls entered in each of these individual events, and so it's like these girls are coming up. Yesterday at the NFBR in the parking lot, there's little girls walking around the parking lot looking for people to sign their autographs, and I just to know that the sport that we love has grown. It's got the opportunities. The people that have come before us have given us this chance, and hopefully, the ones that are here now, myself and all these other breakaway ropers can steward it well, to where they these little girls do have a future in the sport. And I think the older I get, the more that's what it's about. Yes, I want to rope, and yes, I want to do these things, but I also want to look back and say that I gave back to rodeo, because rodeo has given me so much, and I hope these other girls do the same. So it's pretty surreal to know. I feel like I'm at a middle point in my life where it's like I don't feel young anymore, but I don't feel really old yet. But I'm just appreciative for everybody who has paved the way, who has helped us, who has stuck their neck out for us, and the girls that have shown up to rope, and then the parents that are creating these little youth monsters that are going to beat us here in a little a little bit, but they're taking their kids, and it's no better way of life to live than grow up as a rodeo cowgirl.
Yeah, just remember, it wasn't that long ago. Those little girls included people like Haley Williams and Riley George, and
Yep.
now all of a sudden, here that Haley's winning 3 go rounds out of 5 in one night at the breakaway finals. It's a pretty impressive group, and I'm sure
Yes,
that
sir.
next generation is going to be just as wolfy, if not more so. Jordan Joe, I know you got work to do. Merry Christmas. Everybody follow the In the Loop podcast with Jordan Joe Hollabaugh. She covers not just breakaway, but she covers rodeo, and she is one of the best you're ever going to have a chance to listen to. Her insights and her thoughts are really special. Thanks, my friend. I appreciate your time. Have fun on the Cowboy Channel, and Merry Christmas to you and Raymond.
Thank you. You too.